School, though.
That's true.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Midnight Reviews. She-Hulk Episode 3. I am the wet-ass podcaster, Trask Now, and I'm joined by...
I'm the people, Kirklin Patzer.
And I am the weekly cameo, Dylan West.
Yes, we are here breaking down She-Hulk. This is the third episode of 9. As usual, head down links below. As you hear, Taylor's not around, but the social media, Facebook, Twitter, that's where you find all our episodes. This week we're just propping off with different reviews, different side quests. And now Man in the back. We got Lord of the Rings. We got D23 predictions. It's just like one thing after another. So that's why you want to be following social media, because you can never miss an episode. But you should just subscribe to anything you like down below, whether it's the video, the audio. Check that out. We have our podcast separate feeds. We have the podcast network that has 6 different shows that cover a range of different geek areas. And most importantly, head over to Patreon and get the feed ad-free, exclusive, early, things like that. Depending on the tier, you get up to 3 exclusive episodes. After 9 will be coming back in the sometime. Well, I guess it's September now. So now this month it will be back. And big shout out to our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Molly Biggs, and Joshua Wright. And then another way to support us is by our sponsors, which is Manscaped. Go over there and use the podcast code GVPOD to get 20% and free worldwide shipping, because the more you support this show, because it is fan run, the more we can give back to you. So we appreciate everyone that listens. She-Hulk, non-spoilers, Dilmus, what did you think of episode 3?
Yeah, once again, I'm still loving the show, so it's good. It didn't have that episode 2 drop off that I feared so much. I do have to say, though, I feel like this one maybe had the least meat to chew on in terms of the 3 episodes that we've got so far. So I don't know how... I feel like this might be a shorter episode tonight. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. But, we did kind of have 2 different storylines, but we didn't, get an update on Hulk, for example. But we got some other stuff to tackle. So, yeah, I'm still loving the show. I'm loving the humor. I like the storylines we're going on here. So, yeah, I'm gladly still enjoying my time.
Kirk and Patzer, where are you? Because I feel like you're a little mixed on the first episode. Second episode was a bit of a rise. Where are we now, episode 3?
Yeah, with episode 3, I enjoyed this one. I wasn't blown away by any means, but I definitely think this had like a good balance of some story stuff and comedy and some lawyer stuff going on. So I always love myself a good lawyer show. So I enjoyed that stuff, and I think Tatiana, that's her name, right?
Tatiana
the lead.
Maslany,
I think she's just like excelling with this role. She's so fantastic. She's really charismatic, and even if she's not like the main, what's the best way to describe that? She's not like dropping like a joke or like a specific one-liner. Just like her behavior around certain situations, I feel like I'm appreciating what she's doing there, and I feel like pulling something like that off is harder than it looks to like pull off so naturally, and she's really killing it in my opinion. So she's fantastic, and yeah, without getting into spoilery stuff, I think all the other characters in this episode were really fantastic too, and I'm definitely growing on the animation surrounding the She-Hulk character. It's not bothering me as much anymore. There's certain moments when it looks, I think, better than other times, but yeah, for the most part, I think I'm definitely getting used to it, which is definitely something I'm glad I'm having that feeling, because I still had some issues with it in episode 1, but I think it's just that exposure effect. The more I see it, I'll probably get more and more used to it.
Yeah, I agree with you where it's still like, I agree with like both your reviews, where the very opening, like first 5 minutes while she was walking around, I think it just depends on the certain lighting they have the character in, because it's too bright.
Yeah.
It just looks like she's not on that same kind of design or set with the other people. Then there's other times, like in this episode, she does like an interview, minor spoilers, with like a news team, and like that looked really good and stuff like that. But again, it's like because they can light her properly, she's in this room. I'm not sure, so I think it's just one thing that's gonna unfortunately kind of always be inconsistent. I wish it was always looking movie quality 100% the whole time, but hopefully that'll happen more down the line, or at least when she does get into the movies. But yeah, again, I kind of agree with Dylan where I loved the episode, really liked it. I feel like it is my least favorite out of the 3 so far. I'm not saying it's a bad one, just that it was it was like a and even me saying it was fine sounds a lot more negative. It was just a solid, like, that's what's good about this, and maybe this middle portion where I feel like the Hulk stuff we might get back to eventually, but I feel like a lot of these episodes now, they're going to be more a slice of life of her just doing these random cases and stuff. This is a show, like, funny enough, where versus like Daredevil Netflix, like, even though it's good for the podcast and whatnot, there is like a part of me that wishes you could binge it because they are so small and just little pockets of the universe. It's like this could be a one and done. But we got some answers on some, Abomination stuff. We had a cameo and things like that. Very abrupt, weird ending, in my opinion. That I think that was kind of a that's kind of a negative for me for multiple reasons, and I'll bring that when we get there. But I will say I feel like there's a lot more fourth wall breaking in this episode and a lot of work. That's the same thing. Like the humor just works for me majority of the time in this. There's a B plot in here that was it was fun. I didn't care about it too much, but I liked it. Least favorite of the three, but I'll be excited to see where we get to next week. So anything specifically to shout before we cross the line?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, lines being crossed in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. I don't know why I did that countdown. I did it a weird way, but it's that's what happens in the midnight reviews. So
Going back to the GeekVerse Assemble that we also stopped doing randomly somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just that we were in person and there's no more assembling, I guess. But no, I wanted to jump to the ending just because before I forget that because I don't have my notes. It really has nothing to do now. Luckily, I imagine it's gonna have something to do with something going forward because these guys are trying to get a needle in her, they couldn't pierce that nasty green Hulk skin. They said so. They're trying to get something. So I imagine it's gonna lead to some storyline. In the moment, it just felt like they just wanted an action scene. Like, oh, like people might not enjoy this episode because there's like nothing going on. We need some fighting here, so let's just throw this in here. She's gonna beat this guy up, and then she just stared like longingly into the car window, like it was like a sad moment. Like it looked like she had killed someone, and she's looking in the window like she couldn't believe what she had done, but she just kind of like beat them up and scared them away. So it was very dramatic and wasn't the greatest place. I'm hoping an episode down the line can kind of spruce the scene up a bit more because it was very, very clunky, I think.
Yeah,
I think it very much had like the cliffhanger sort of structure to it, where it's just dropped. Yeah, it's like that's what we're gonna do next episode, but they just want to like lead you into it, kind of thing. So I see what you mean. I also feel weird about the longing stare. It's like, what exactly are we doing here with this?
Yeah, and I thought it was going to lead to like a smile, like maybe she's starting to dig She-Hulk more, but it looked more...
I thought Daredevil was popping up in that window reflection.
I thought there was a chance too.
It's nighttime. He loves
but
that.
Then she just popped up again. I was like, oh, okay, it's just her. But I thought when they're showing the roof, we might just going to see him like run by, and that was it, and get like, oh, he's around, but... No,
does the Moon Knight jump? It's like the new logo.
Yeah. he does a D though when he does it. Like he's that good.
Yeah, yeah. It felt really weird with like it almost felt like they cut something out of it because she like stared, but like the stare felt like it should have been from a different reason for like what had occurred in that scene. Because she just stared at the window. I was like expecting her to say something or like lead to another scene, but no, it just cuts to credits, and I thought I fell asleep for a second there. I was like, did I just miss something? Like what happened?
Yeah, I wonder if it's like kind of how Blonsky made that comment about like, you're going to be in the news no matter what, so you might as well get ahead of it. I wonder if that was like a realization of her, like almost like calling back to Banner and saying that like, you're going to have to be a hero. You got to do stuff like this. So I don't know if it was something like that, like where, getting jumped by people with super weapons was like, okay, even though this went very swimmingly, it's still like, okay, I got to do something about this, or maybe I should be doing like, I don't think it's going to take her away from being a lawyer, but maybe it's just something that she was thinking about in that moment.
Well, which was odd for me because they introduced her becoming She-Hulk in that scene in like a very comedic way. They started to choke her and she starts screaming. She's like, oh, right. And then she just turns into Hulk. So like it felt very playful to begin with. And then at the end, they like call back to that. So hopefully there's a bit more of her inner turmoil next week. And we're not just left in like, why did she stare at herself in the thing? But I think you might be right about it. It's just like, or even just the fact that she's She-Hulk, it's like trouble's going to find her no matter what because you are a super. It's like when Vision in Civil War is like, since Tony Stark revealed himself to be Iron Man, like all these superhero activities went up hundreds of percent because people were actively knowing about this now and talking about it, and it was a thing. So maybe that and everything like that. So let's go to Emil. He's a free man now. I was surprised, actually. I thought that it was going to be a couple episodes. Now, I'm not saying I don't think we won't see him ever again in this episode, but I did not think we'd be getting his verdict in this episode. I thought this might be at least a 3-parter, and that we got last week and this week. So I thought, okay, the verdict's gonna, especially when we picked up the B storyline. I thought, okay, they're gonna they're gonna make us wait, but no, we got to meet his 7 lovelies, so that was that was nice for everybody. I don't know why people thought this. Scooper shut you down, and rightly so. There's some people that had a theory that there was gonna be like the Thunderbolts he was writing to, and I was like, I didn't I didn't think about that at all last week. I didn't see that scene and be like, oh, he's writing to the Thunderbolts, because people are like, well, there might be 7 members. Okay, but no, he's there. Wong was used as a witness, and he just completely complied and need him out. So, Kirk, what do you think about Emil's journey here? He's out. He showed he could be Abomination. He can control it all and everything like that. He's a free man, unless he just can't turn into Abomination because he has a tracker, or he will go
he's
back.
Definitely never gonna turn into Abomination again.
I wonder why they just said that so clearly to the kid.
Yeah. Like with regards to it just being contained to the one episode, I think that completely works for me, especially because like the title of this episode just, what was it, Emil Blonsky versus the People.
Yes.
So I thought it was a very fitting name. Again, it just felt like it just felt like a perfect lawyer show title, and like event what was going on. Obviously there's a little bit more Marvel stuff to give it its own little sprinkle and flavor from a regular Suits or, you know, another lawyer show like that. But I am very interested in going forward on if we do get like an answer right away on like the Emil situation. If I'm not necessarily saying like next episode, but like at some point in this show, like, are we gonna know what his outcome is, or is he just gonna kind of be a free man till he pops up in the Thunderbolts? I am interested by that, because I feel like maybe that'll change my outlook on the way that this was handled in just like the one episode. Because I'm not the biggest Abomination fanboy or anything, but I feel like I've really grown to appreciate the character of Emil Blonsky, and just Tim Roth, man. Gotta have him in more episodes. He's fantastic. And he was chewing up the scenery in this episode, and he's fantastic.
Do you think it happens though? Because you were questioning like if it does or not. Do you think that gets answered here?
Yeah,
or?
I think we'll have I think we'll have some sort of inkling, whether it's, I don't know, an end credit scene somewhere, or just like it's not a clear what's the word I'm trying to say, a clear
path.
yeah it'll be like, oh, he's going somewhere. It's like, okay, tune in next time to find out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
Thought you were gonna say
to Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor, what do you think? No, okay.
Yeah. It was very confusing. No, I it's interesting, because if they cut it off here, and like the way it's like, I could see it being set up as, you know, like the end of the show's post-credit thing where you find out what Emil's up to, or that sets up a Thunderbolts thing. But wouldn't that be so weird to have like his storyline close off in episode 3, and then you call back to that, you know, in our case, like 6 weeks later is when they like follow that up. It just seems weird. But then, you know, every episode does have a post-credit scene, but they're all being used as like these little jokes based on some character or moment in the episode. So you wouldn't have done that like bigger overarching story one here. So it's weird, because we know that there's like a lot of stuff going on. We still don't know where Daredevil's going to be. And there's like this frog guy that's apparently like the main villain. We know there's the other guys who I'm guessing
I don't
are
think it's
related
confirmed
to
he's the
Frog.
main villain. I think he's just I think he's might be a case.
I'm just thinking a frog is probably green. These guys are trying to get her blood to turn someone green. The frog, it all is coming together potentially.
Hulk.
And I just don't know where Abomination fits into this. Like if he was not in the show again, I don't think I'd be like, oh, they left that open. Obviously, we know Thunderbolts is a thing, but I feel like they closed it off here. But you're right that it does seem like a bit abrupt, but maybe that's just a good like early 3-episode plot that, and then we can like move into the next thing now. So I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I liked all the scenes with him, but I guess I'm not feeling confident that we're gonna see him again. Like I feel like that they could just move on from here. Actually,
I feel like the end credit is a for sure. I think you're right, where it could be weird if that's all we get the next little bit. I feel like what we could do is they may either show us this scene, or Jennifer Walters will learn, like through the news or through her people that he did have an incident and now he's back in prison, and then I think it would end with Julie Louis-Dreyfus, like talking to him saying, "Oh, we did find a way for you to get out this time," and stuff like that. Because like how I know what's gonna happen, but how does he turn into it? Does he turn into it because he gets set off? Does he turn into because he's trying to do good, or is he like does he just go right back to crime? Because that's my whole thing. Like, I feel like some of his attitude is very fake and it's very put on. So that's why I feel like he could have he could just go right back to doing crime and trying to collect money, and this is the only way. So I feel like there's gonna be an incident and then a post credit. That's what I'm thinking, at least.
Is Thunderbolts like a Suicide Squad thing where it's like a government run organization, or is it just that they team up on their own?
No, it's
run
government
by
run.
someone?
It's very similar. You can work off sentences, time, stuff like that. And
so
everything.
it would make sense then that he gets back in prison and then gets an offer from a Thunderbolt person.
Yeah. All Game says, why is there an assumption that there'll be a main villain? I would assume because every single show has had a main villain, right? And I feel like I don't know if it's going to be because that was the Wrecking Crew that She-Hulk took on. I don't know if whoever their bosses will be, but just because I would love it. I would absolutely love if we get a show with no villain. It's just like a slice of life, and what like the villain is like something internally for her. Maybe that's why she's looking at that car window and something. But I am hoping that there's not like and it has to be this person. But I just assume that there's going to be someone there for a final fight, because there always is there for a final fight. Even WandaVision didn't really need it, but they're like, well, it's going to end with Agatha and Wanda in the sky running around shooting lasers at each other and stuff. And it's like, it was a very psychological show. You could have just ended it there. But I think there'll be something or someone that will rise to be, even if it's like the last few episodes, will rise to be like the main antagonist.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have like a training sequence and her learning how to do the super clap if she's not going to use it on a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Just a big round of applause at the end. She's just cheering on.
Kills a whole jury.
Blows
She's
away
like,
the
thank
jury.
you. Yeah.
Travis is throwing me off this background. I keep thinking that Jennifer Walters' legs are yours, especially the way that you're sitting.
Ooh, they
right
are.
Now. It's very elegant. Nice tan legs you got.
Sit up there.
Especially because you had your arm kind of lower down. It just looked like it was resting.
Yeah, I gotta do this.
I'm getting a little
like
too
her
sleepy.
face
Maybe.
is popping on the top too, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
You got to go really high up to get up there.
But yeah, no. So that's Emil. He's out. We had Wong, who they discovered through. They found a LinkedIn and stuff. Same thing. I guess it's just because I thought Wong might be in multiple episodes. He might come back, and it's fun to have the tie off there. I like seeing Benedict Wong. It's great that he's appearing so much in the MCU. There's some fun back and forth with everybody. I like when they call them out, like, oh, you did commit a crime, and he leaves right away. So I didn't really understand the whole. He had to bust him out to have a worthy opponent to be the Sorcerer Supreme, because I guess, are you telling me the whole 5 years he wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme, and then when Strange got back, he was having his trials? It felt very, I don't know, kind of just messy, but it's fine. Yeah. It's much like Hulk becoming Bruce and becoming back to Hulk, where it's like, this is not the biggest stuff I'm gonna lose sleep over. But yeah, I like seeing Wong. It was good to have him back for a bit.
Do you think there's something to him being late? Was he in some sort of peril doing something? I feel like if he was, why would he just sit down for 2 hours and sit there while after he's given his speech and stuff? Do you think there's anything to that? Is he gonna need her help with something?
Maybe it's right after WandaVision, they just killed Wanda, and he can't. Oh, sorry, I just was dealing that. I feel like he did come from something, but the problem is solved. That's why he could sit there for 2 hours.
Yeah. I don't think it'll get really answered either. I feel like it might have just been to build some, I don't know, chaos and suspense with her having to just delay time and have all these other witnesses, because that was kind of there's some comedy moments in there as we're waiting for Wong.
Enough from Charlie. We've heard enough from Charlie. All Tim Roth's back and forth there too is good.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But with Wong, I love pretty much all the moments with him in this episode. I always love when it's just called Wong, no Mr. Wong, because they're like, Mr. Wong, he's like, just Wong, and then he does his entire list of names. I always appreciate that. And I thought he was funny. I definitely think that the explanation on why he needed to break out Abomination, it didn't really satisfy what I was looking for. I'm now kind of under the assumption that this is just the explanation to just have Abomination Wong in all these movies just like kind of cross over. Maybe I'm a little bit hopeful that we will get a little bit more explanation like when we get to like in regards to the end scene for like Shang-Chi and some of that stuff. So maybe there is still some better explanation on like these crossovers with the character, but as of right now, I think this explanation kind of had me like, okay, maybe it's just going to be because we need these characters to cross over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels more like okay, we did this in Shang-Chi, now we got to justify it, rather than this being a Kevin Feige 5-year plan thing of like, okay, we're going to have Abomination in this scene, which is going to get followed up on She-Hulk, and then Thunderbolts. It all connects in some masterful way. I don't know if we're getting that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Where they felt like it was cool doing Shang-Chi, and then like, oh, we should explain that. And that's where I guess I'm not too mad at the answer, because I still would have never been mad if we never got explained why Shang-Chi was fighting, Wong. It just would have been like, oh, this cool thing that happened. Like I was curious, but not curious for if I never found like, oh, that's it, I'm done with the MCU. So it very much feels like Bruce when he was back to Bruce and Shang-Chi as well, where they did that and like, oh, we didn't really think about that, did we? And well, we gotta do this quick 2-minute explanation and She-Hulk and now it's just he's back to being Hulk and he's at Sakaar and stuff like that. So first episode without Bruce, not even a call or anything. So I think that's a sign he might be gone for a little bit. I'm thinking like last 3 episodes he could reappear, even just the last episode. But like I said in our predictions, I thought he could be in every episode. But now that he's gone to space, I didn't know that thing was going to happen. So that kind of threw a monkey wrench into my plan there. So
I don't foresee us getting a scene of him without the context of being in communication with She-Hulk. Like I don't think we'll see like him on Sakaar. We'll just hear about what he was doing and stuff like that.
budget's just gone because they got to have a whole Sakaar episode and it's just space and Jeff Goldblum and everything. But yeah, so we'll see. Emil's out. That's case. Wong's supposedly gone. Does anyone think we see Wong again in this show? I don't think so, unless it's like some fun end credit, like she pops in the office for like a joke. But I really don't think so.
I guess we got all the trailer scene. The trailer scene was really just him in the office, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just talking
So,
about. They took out the line I really liked about like the Book of Ashanti, and she's like, "No, it's the Book of Law I'm talking about." They took that out. I was mad. I liked that line in the trailers.
Ooh, maybe that's to come then.
Yeah, he gets in trouble. He's like, they are
He did
prosecuting.
get in trouble, but
yeah,
he
I was
just
gonna
fucking
say
pieced out.
they catch him and they're like prosecuting him. That's how strange he becomes Sorcerer Supreme. Like Wong has to serve like a year in New York prison or something like that. So, yeah,
I don't see that happening.
Kirkland, you think we see Wong again at any point?
If we do, I agree with what you said that it would probably just be a quick comedy thing. I don't know. There's not like a big story thing left unanswered. Like he came in, gave his spiel, and just dipped out. And I think that's acceptable.
There you go. What did you think, Kirkland, about the B plot? Because we had what's his name? It's like Dakota or I don't know. He's the sleazeball guy who's been in each episode. He's always feuding with Jen Walters, and they had the storyline where he thought he was dating Megan Thee Stallion, hence my podcast name, West Podcaster, and it turned out to be a shape-shifting elf from New Asgard, and she was getting him to buy stuff and all these things. And Megan Thee Stallion was actually in these episodes. It was kind of fun. There's an end
No one
credit.
drafted her.
No one
I
drafted
drafted her.
Would have been surprise points. Yeah. There's an end credit scene that I'm sure the She-Hulk thirsters are just gonna love, as you have She-Hulk literally twerking. So that's gonna be you're gonna see that all over the internet. You're gonna see it in many places. But
Are
what do
people
you
gonna be salty about that? Like I feel like that's like the Hulk dab thing where people just
No,
get mad about that for some
I think
reason?
it's different because people are attracted to She-Hulk, so I think they're gonna be
okay.
happy with this. Where I don't think many people are like shipping themselves with Bruce as Hulk. I think also just because the way he acts, he's very like dude.
No, I just mean
and
I think people are more mad about that just because of I don't actually understand why people are mad about that. But
that's
anyway.
fair. Well, people, I guarantee you'll search it and there'll be somebody be like they ruined She-Hulk. But I think because it's also that's the good thing with the fourth wall breaking. You also just take that like this is a pure fourth wall moment. And I love when she's like, "I would kill for you," and she's like, "Hey, hold on."
Too far.
Yeah, and then it cut to that. I liked that ending a lot better. Of like, yeah, that worked for me. So, and Superman Mike says, "I learned who Megan Thee Stallion is." Oh, you did. I feel like everyone at least knew like WAP when that came out. That was like the travel the I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. It was a popular song that was memed a lot as well too. But yeah, so there you go. She's in the MCU. Kirkland, what do you think about this whole B plot?
Yeah, like it gave us like a second trial, right, in this episode, so definitely
Yes.
packing in the law stuff, so I'm always game for that. It's so funny, again, just like midnight eyes, sleepy eyes. When I first saw this character like in The Office, he looks so similar to Charlie Cox. I didn't even realize till you're like, you got those like tired eyes. It's just like, man, is this him? Is this Daredevil? Oh no, okay, it's just this
You can
character
see
again.
Matt.
Yeah, this total asshole character. I liked the thing with like the shapeshifter character. I feel like that's always a fun power to cause mischief with, and like
Yes.
definitely that's exactly what this character was doing in this episode. It's just like another like, what do you call it, world building, or it's just like explaining
I think so,
that
'cause
like,
it's
yeah,
connecting New Asgard, and it's also showing that superpowers are just more common now, right? Because there's
yeah.
superpowered people just on trial now, and it should be, because in the MCU, like, it's been longer, but in their world, it's been like 13 years since Iron Man came out, and that was like the start of we have superheroes around. So it's like after 13 years, I feel like you'd start to get affiliated with, okay, there's just superpowered people around all the time, you know?
And like some of them are criminals, and I
Yes.
like that we're getting into those details, because that's, you know, if there's so many of them, there's definitely some bad cookies, so that's fun. I really liked her line when she dropped like Thor's quote. It's just like, you know, Asgard is the people, and Judge just instantly shut that down. That was really fun. Yeah, so I liked it for the most part. We also had, what was her name, Nikki, and like it seemed like, was that her love interest or something of that one lawyer, or is he just like coworker? It seemed like they had some
Like the one that
chemistry.
was the actual lawyer defending.
Yeah,
I think
representing.
they like that could be something like weave together down the line or something. They seem friendly, you know. So.
Yeah, he was fine enough for the defending of that character.
Yeah,
Don't have the best terminology right now. I apologize.
that's fair. Don't have this B plot hit you.
Yeah, I think for a one episode plot line's pretty solid. It was fun enough. Some good jokes in there. I really like the joke when the three of them are at dinner, and she like quickly goes to the camera. She's like, "Oh, is that merging the A and B plot right there?"
Yeah, so
and
good.
I wanted to mention that earlier, but you mentioned the fourth wall stuff. I think it's just so well done in this show, in that it's very, very quickly like little notes tossed in there, or oftentimes it's like used at like the very end of a scene to transition into something else. And yeah, I don't think they're like going too hard on it. I mean, they're doing it a lot, but it's always like these little moments. So I think that's pretty good. But yeah, I don't know if I have much to break down with that B plot. I think once again, it's fine for one episode. I'm curious. Do you think we'll see that shapeshifter again, or is that like kind of a one and done thing? I mean, specifically in this TV show, so I could see her pop up wherever in the future. I don't know where, but somewhere.
I also did like it. I hope it is a one and done, because I could find that character maybe getting a little like a little annoying if I get her too much. So I hope it. But
Miss Frizzle from Mando.
Yeah, like she was and I think it works with the show that she's being very comedic, and she's being very kind of like loud when she's like the troll version and stuff. But I could see them being like, we need somebody to steal this file, and it's like, well, I know someone. So like I could see her being used for something like that, but I hope in the legal sense we don't get any more, because she got 60 days in prison for impersonating a judge, and she has to pay $175,000, which at one point our main lawyer there, I'll have to get his names, because and that's the thing, like, I like them enough, but that's why it's the weakest, where I like this enough it's fun, but the last two episodes felt like they were like it was Jennifer Walters the whole time. I don't necessarily need a B plot. It's cool to have it there, I guess, but I'm fine if we're just following Jennifer Walters, that's fine. I don't need to know what the other lawyers are doing here, unless their name's Matt Murdock. I don't really care that much, but it's not bad. There's some comedy in there, but I like they're talking and like, okay, well, tell me when to stop when you hit the price. And he's like, 175. He's like, wow, 175. Like, you get a house in this country. I'm like, what fucking country are they living in? Because even here in Canada, you're not getting a house for 175. So I don't think in New York someone's getting a house for 100.
Down payment.
Yeah, for 175. 175. $1,000. There we go. I had 3 times to
Whoa.
try.
$1,000,000,000.
$175,000. Yeah. Like homes around Kelowna are like $1 million. And you tell me in New York you can buy a house for under 200? Absolutely not. You know, it's like Joker and Dark Knight saying gas is cheap. It's like, what's going on in Gotham where gas is cheap? Like, what's happening? So I just laughed when he said that. Like, okay, we got to move to New York then, I guess. Cheaper there than in Kelowna somehow. You know.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, I thought it was fine. It did its job. I got a couple laughs and
I feel like that character, I guess that ability, we've seen it so many superhero movies over the years where a shapeshifter doing stuff.
Mhm.
And I liked that they used it in a different way here where it was never a thing of like, oh, I wonder like, oh, or you're thinking a character is like their actual self, but then you get duped. I felt like it was always very obvious because she was just being very over the top and trickster like and just trolling the whole time. So I think that was a fun thing, but yeah, I don't know if it would be funny if we kept getting that joke again and again, unless it actually did become compelling where you're not sure which characters are real and all that stuff. But I don't think we are going down that path anyway.
Is the guy's name Pug? Is that really the actor?
Pugliese.
Pugliese.
Whoa, okay.
Okay, thank
Really
you.
cool
So
name. I remember the judge saying that.
Is it? Yeah, I guess so. But I did
The
like
Pug
when
for
she
short.
turned into him in the lobby and she's like she's being really rude to the girls and everything like that.
I degrade women.
I degrade women. And then when he opens the door, he's like, I don't do that. He's like, you know me. And then he like goes, like he's just trying to like he's kind of annoyed that they even bought it for a second. He's like, you know who I am. Like, yeah, I liked that. And then the only thing I have to shout out that we haven't talked about, Superbad Mike brought up, was I love when they're going through more of like the She-Hulk and who she is, because they take on Emil's case. It was picking up exactly from last week and showing, oh, Jennifer Walters, all this stuff, and all the like scrolling of the comics of, oh, the She-Hulk's too woke, and oh, look at me too enforcing She-Hulk and stuff, like all these things.
There's
Like
Team He-Hulk on there. I saw.
yeah, I'm fine with superhero women, but not derivative people and stuff like that. And then it just cuts to some young teen being like, I don't know about you all, but I'd smash, and then like cuts away. That whole segment, because it's exactly like it's just like it reminds me of Ralph Breaks the Internet when they just nail like that. Like the loser narrative that happens on the internet and everything. So I like these clips of guys being like, oh, I don't have a problem, but I just like the original Hulk better. Like it's all these like very fun, like that wasn't even fourth wall breaking, but it felt like it kind of was. So I thought that was a great call right there.
There was the one line too. It was like, they took Hulk's manhood away and gave it to a woman. It's just like so ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's stuff we hear, right? I'm sure people
Yeah.
see the show, so I got a good laugh at that. And
Well, it's funny. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's gonna be like The Boys when Homelander's supposed to be like kind of an allegory for Trump, and then they made that really very official last season. People were like, "Oh, Homelander's the villain of the show." It's like, yeah, from episode 1, that was like the whole point, and that's what this is gonna be. Like anybody that didn't get it, they're like, I can't watch this. I wouldn't. That's not a bad thing to say and stuff. So.
I popped on the IMDb to just see the cast, and I just like saw one quick comment or rating, and like the title was like, "Wish I could sue the show." Somewhere in the meat and potatoes of the review, it's like, this is for one specific audience, the wokes. It's like they could take that comment and put it in that little sizzle reel that they had with all the ridiculous comments.
And that's why it's so funny, because I forgot it's good you brought that with the IMDb rating. That was the biggest thing, because I got bombarded last week, and all the reviews are just that. It's too woke. It's a woman like being Hulk and stuff, and they got that on point. It's kind of like with Captain Marvel when they had that line about the guy who was like, you should smile more, and like, oh, did you do that after? Like, no, that was already in the movie, and that was in the midst of everyone being like, oh, like Brie Larson doesn't smile enough as Captain Marvel and stuff. So it's like, it's almost like these guys are very predictable and how how sexist they can be and whatnot. So good on them. That's kind of good timing, everything. And I was gonna say, all in the game, you said that Wong was listed for more episodes. I would not believe the IMDb cast list. I really wouldn't, because even right now it says Mark Ruffalo's listed for 9 episodes. He's not in this one, and so IMDb can be edited by a lot of people in the business, so they're just putting it out there. It might be a clip of Bruce Banner, but he's not in it. So
yeah, Daredevil's supposed to be in 7 episodes on there.
So that means
he was
that's
supposed to be in this
lie.
episode. Yeah.
Maybe
No,
was
he must
in the
have been in
background.
that fucking window. We just didn't look
Yeah.
close enough.
That's how the next
Enhance.
episode starts. He just like rolls down the window, hop in.
Oh, he's actually in the car.
He's driving even though he's blind.
Excuse me, you messed up my car. Yeah.
It's all destroyed. It's like, get in.
Yeah. Anything else about this episode you guys want to shout before we close it out?
I'm just curious where we go next because we closed off this episode's B storyline, and then I would be surprised if Abomination stuff comes up next episode. Like that seems something where we left it off, like kick it down a few episodes if it is even in this show again. So I hope we go with the Wrecking Crew is what you called them, right? So
Yeah.
I hope we go like directly into that. I want to see more of that storyline, and if there is like a big villain for the season, they got to start setting that up or I mean, I guess you could consider that to be the setup potentially if the Wrecking Crew is involved. But I think they would have to go deeper into that. So I hope we go down that road, or of course I want to see Daredevil. But if we go somewhere else, I'm curious to see which direction we go. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get a new case probably set up next episode too. We'll be dealing with. So I'm excited to see where it goes next.
I feel like the next few weeks of like, cause what now that before, I feel like 4 to 6 are gonna be episodes like this where it's a slice of life, couple A, B plots with the main story kind of bubbling up and everything like that. And All in the Game did clarify that the cast themselves said Wong was in a few more episodes, so maybe he'll have some legal dispute and he'll go to Jennifer Walters because he'll be like, and not the one they joked about, maybe something, and they'll be like, hey, you helped me out last time, you're a good lawyer, so you can help me out here.
Would the cast know that? The cast wouldn't know that.
Well, yeah. If like she filmed multiple episodes with him, right? Like Tatiana said, like, oh yeah, we did a few. Yeah, So like if she mentioned that he's in a few episodes.
Yeah, I guess I guess they would have it by episode basis. I just picture that they film these things in big chunks and the editors change stuff around whenever willy-nilly and whatnot. So
well, you look at
who knows?
episode.
Maybe this was what happened in this episode was supposed to be over 2 or 3 episodes, and then
exactly so
got edited down to 1. So who knows?
So we'll see. Hopefully, new case next week. Obviously, I agree with her. The way she opens up, it is her show, and I'm loving She-Hulk so far. But I am very much hoping I see a Devil next week because I just want to see the costume in action. I mean, I know, and I also just want to see him in more stuff just because like I love seeing him in No Way Home, but it's like that was just a very quick I'm a good lawyer, I to get like a actual 10-minute scene of Matt Murdock or Charlie Cox or Daredevil, that's what I want.
Well, think of it this way, I mean she made that joke this episode about the show is not the one for weekly cameos, but then she obviously immediately disregards that because there's been 3 cameo characters already. But if Wong, we said he's maybe not going to be in here like at least immediately. Abomination either. Hulk, as you mentioned, he's still gone. So who are you going to get for your weekly cameo? Daredevil. There you go.
I think so. That could work. So maybe next week we'll be talking about the Devil in Hell's Kitchen. So we'll be back next week for She-Hulk, and until then, I'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.